Hi, everybody. So I'm Ivor Tucker. I'm the chairman of HopeS Sustainability, which is a social enterprise to help build sustainability curriculum into the education system. The purpose of the call today is to introduce you to Pond Foundation on My Carbon Zero, getting the kids to understand that everybody has a contribution to make in terms of trying to achieve the carbon zero targets, getting them engaged on a regular, ongoing basis. So without further ado, if I hand over to Ben.
I'd just like to start off by introducing the idea of what My Carbon Zero is as a concept. We equip kids with knowledge about climate change and give them that basic carbon literacy, that we make it relevant to they themselves so that they understand and see it within their own lives and see what impact that their own actions can start to have. And we want to equip them with the agency to do something about it as well. The idea of this is that we actually drive a change of habits. We encourage that behavioral change so that they develop that carbon consciousness and act on it, really embedded, infused throughout their day-to-day life at school. We want to do this through a couple of different steps. The first one is to find out how we can implement this project in your school. The first step from the kids' point of view is an assembly where we introduce them to the concepts of carbon literacy. What is climate change? Why is it a problem? Why do your clothes have a carbon footprint? Why does beef have a higher carbon footprint than chicken, for instance? So we start encouraging the kids to track their carbon emissions. We do that through using what's called a carbon balance sheet. So that looks at their lifetime emissions, which they calculate themselves based on where they've been living, but also the kind of lifestyle that they've had up until now. And then from that, using those project works, we can pick out individual areas that as classes we can work on. We set up a carbon tracker in every single classroom so that throughout the course of the year, students can track the amount of CO2 that they're saving. That could be, for instance, through a vegetarian diet, that can be looking at your transportation, that can be looking at your fashion. If you cut down on your food waste this week, how much CO2 have you saved? If you took the bus to school this week, how much CO2 have you saved? By avoiding buying new clothes, by cutting down to 30 degrees instead of 40 degrees in the washing machine, how much energy have you saved? We'll put together all the resources to give you. We'll give you a challenge every week. And lastly, we really want to drive this beyond the gates using competition, discussing this at home and increasing the impact. Not only that, it starts to infuse their everyday life and their everyday thinking. We want kids to understand what is good for the climate, what is bad for the climate, but it's their decision of what action they choose to take. We want this to be very much something where they're equipped with knowledge, they're equipped with the skills to do something about it, environment. They know about the impact of climate change globally, and they know about what they can do to change it. Because that's a crucial point. We want this to be a positive thing.
But certainly the competitive element between each class around what is the average carbon balance of each child in the class and how can we work together to get that low, which I also think gets buy-in from the whole class. Celebrate each 3 weeks about which class has now reduced their carbon balance sheet the most and allow them to take that back to their families, which I think would be really useful. Drive change across the family. If we can get a philosophy across the school that we are always thinking about climate change, always conscious of it. It just becomes something like our school values is something that needs to be part of every single day. Is as empowering for the children as possible.
Information, but ultimately the idea is to get the kids to embrace, to get the kids to think about sustainability as a lifetime engagement